It's good to be back. So if you've been following Star Wars news recently, you will have heard that Rian Johnson is rumoured to be the director and writer of Episode 8, which I find very funny that, J.J. Abrams hasn't even finished directing, hasn't even finished his shoot on Episode 7 yet, and they've already announced who's going to be the director of Episode 8. What are my thoughts on the subject? I think it's great. I think he's a great choice. I think J.J. Abrams is the perfect director to direct Episode 7, but I can understand if he didn't want to, obviously he wants to have a crack at a Star Wars film, but I can understand if he didn't want to have to stick around for the whole franchise. And Star Wars has had a history of having different directors, obviously the original trilogy, George Lucas directed the second one, but then Irving Kershner directed the Empire Strikes Back, and then Richard Marquand directed Return of the Jedi. And each of those directors brought something different to the table, which is why that trilogy stands up so much, because even though they definitely all feel like in the same continuity, very much so, they all have their unique feel, and so they each have their own sort of distinct personality, which I think is a lot of the reason why those films kind of stood the test of time so much. What do I think of Johnson as a director? Have you seen Looper? It's awesome. It's a brilliant film. Well, if not a brilliant film, just a really, really damn good one. Trying time travel plot holes aside, it definitely proves Rian Johnson's skill as a sci-fi director. He's also directed some of the best episodes of Breaking Bad, like Ozymandias and The Fly, which are some of my all-time favourites. And they're so well shot. There's just this scene in Ozymandias where, Walter White just falls down and the sun his head sort of blocks the sun, and it's just brilliant. It looks amazing. I think because they hired Rian Johnson, this is going to mean that Episode 8 will probably, I would say, be a little bit more darker, a little bit more like The Empire Strikes Back. Because what I think will happen, I think Episode 7 will be quite fun and light-hearted, kind of reintroducing us to this universe will be a fun adventure rock with maybe hints of darkness. But then I think Episode 8 and 9 will be the more substantial, more sort of story-driven ones. But Disney, they're hiring directors like not only J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson, but also, Josh Trank and Gareth Edwards for the spin-offs. They've got writing talent like Lawrence Kasdan's back, which is awesome, and Simon Kinberg. If anyone is still sort of doubting Disney at this point, saying, it's, Disney, they're going to ruin it, Mickey Mouse, then, what planet are you on? We've gone, in the past, since bloody the prequel trilogy, we've gone from, just the single-driven George Lucas, to having this whole array of fantastic directors. We could not be in a better situation. I do hope that if Rian Johnson is, directing it and writing it, I hope Lawrence Kasdan is still on board, because I think it would make sense. Like, J.J. Abrams wrote the scripts for Episode 7 with Lawrence Kasdan, so wouldn't it make sense for Rian Johnson to also write Episode 8 with Lawrence Kasdan? And I think it would help, because, as much as having different directors is great, you do want that presence as, along all the films. I know you've got Kathleen Kennedy, but you also need someone, you also need a creative, someone who's more involved creatively, like Lawrence Kasdan, the writer, to be involved, because, Lawrence Kasdan wrote The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. I think that certainly helped, the link between those films. So keep Lawrence Kasdan on board. But, aside from that, I think it's just really quite, I want to think of a better word for honourable, but I don't know. Really quite, cool of J.J. Abrams to go like, okay, I've always wanted to direct a Star Wars film, but I don't want to, direct the whole trilogy. So I'm going to hand it over to other talented directors. I think that's really cool, and I am so stoked. I just can't wait. I wonder if they're going to get someone again different, because there were rumours that he was also going to direct Episode 9. I would think that they'd get someone again different, so they could have, like, it would be weird if it was, like, one J.J. Abrams and then two Rian Johnson. I think it would make more sense to be, like, J.J. Abrams, Rian Johnson, and then, I don't know, another indie director, like, I don't know, Joss Whedon. Just three awesome directors for what I hope turns out as an awesome trilogy, because this just sounds great. I'm also really looking forward to Gareth Edwards' spin-off. I think it might be, there are rumours of Boba Fett. I think that'd be really cool. I'm really looking forward to Josh Trank as well. And Disney, just keep doing what you're doing. Keep hiring these sort of lesser-known indie directors, and I think you're going to get the critical and financial praise that you're certainly hoping for. Thank you. This was Isaac's Movie Page, and thank you for listening.